Palace Software was a UK video game publisher based in London in the 80s, founded by Pete Stone. Notable games in their software library were The Evil Dead, The Sacred Armour of Antiriad, Barbarian and Barbarian 2. In 1991, Palace Group sold the company to French-based software house Titus. But today, we're here to talk about Palace Software's other well-known titles, the award-winning Cauldron games.
So, first up is the original Cauldron that was released on the Commodore 64 in 1985 and then on the Amstrad and Spectrum shortly after. The game was originally conceived as an official movie tie-in to John Carpenter's Halloween, but designer Steve Brown altered it to make it more child-friendly. It was also released in America on the Commodore 64 by company Broderbund, with what appears to be Bellatrix Lestrange from Harry Potter on the front cover. So, Cauldron has two game modes, a horizontal shoot 'em up where you're on the broomstick, and a platformer when you're inside the caves. So let's take a look at the three versions of Cauldron for the home micros. So we start off with the Commodore 64 version. Now while you're on foot you have no defence, so you've just got to take the hits and just be bombarded with bats and just get this health pick up there. And in order to take off you have to reach a clearing, so if you try and take off in front of the trees you lose a life, and if you try and land where the trees are, you lose a life. So the object of the game is to find 6 objects that are located in 6 of the caverns, and those 6 objects you take back to your cottage, put in the cauldron and cast a spell in order to defeat the Pumpkin. So this is the only version of Cauldron that has scrolling. All the other ones have either push scroll or flick scroll. And it's the only version of Cauldron that has inertia while you're on the broomstick. So as you can see there, I'm trying to land in that clearing, and you have to be pixel perfect to land there. There, I've made it. So while I'm here I might as well pick up the energy. Try and land here and lose a life because of that tiny little shrub. Land there on top of a tombstone, doesn't kill me. So anyway, there's the first key. So we just need to find the blue door. But that's a green door. All the other versions of Cauldron, you don't need to find colour-coded keys. Like, it doesn't matter what key you find, it opens all doors. It's the Spectrum version. Now, when they released the Spectrum and the Amstrad version, they reduced the difficulty level. So now, when you're on the broomstick, you don't have the inertia. So as soon as you let go of the joystick, the witch stops dead. And also the clearings where you land are a lot bigger. So there's a green door there, but I don't necessarily need the green key to open it. Now the downside to this is, so even though you've not got the inertia on the broomstick, when you land, you walk incredibly slow. So I've just got the purple key.
And I just wish there was more sound effects or some sort of music during the gameplay. There isn't any music in any of the Cauldron games, by the way, except for Super Cauldron. But on Super Cauldron there's music in game, whereas Cauldron and Cauldron 2, it's just sound effects. Very, very limited sound effects on the Spectrum. So, red door, and I've got a green and a purple key, so it doesn't matter what colour key you get. Now, you have to be pixel perfect doing these jumps, and as you can see there, I fell straight through the middle of the platform. And also because it's a push scroll or a flick scroll, you don't know what's on the other side of the screen, so you just have to do leap of faiths. It's incredibly difficult. Leap straight through the platform again. And onto the Amstrad. So, like the Commodore 64, nice and colourful graphics. A lot more vivid colours on the Amstrad. Not as many browns. And like on the Spectrum, you don't have the inertia. And also, if you look at the door there, it looks more like a door, so it's not like a colour-coded door, like on the other two. There's a key there, hiding in the railings. And let's try out this cavern, see what this has got in store for us. So, all I've got to do is jump on that platform to get to those other blue platforms. Oh no! There's a big brick wall that I can't pass. Now, I'm assuming one of the objects that you find allows you to pass through walls. I've no idea. Just randomly shooting seagulls, as you do. And fireballs coming from volcanoes. I'm not sure how I'm going to get that key. Doesn't look safe to land there. Now, even though I've still got the same key from the other door, it opens this door. So the same key must open multiple doors. Now, that is one of the objects. I think it's one of the objects. It looks like a flaming heart. No idea what it is, but as you can see, it's out of reach. So I try again. Edge a bit closer to the second platform. Get to the edge of the second platform a bit. No. Try a little bit further this time. See how far I can go to the edge. So no, I don't think there must be a there must be an item that makes you pass through walls and jump higher. So that was Cauldron.
And I thought Cauldron 1 was hard. 1986's Cauldron 2, The Pumpkin Strikes Back, is a completely different kettle of fish. Your goal is to collect 6 items from the witch's castle and then take them down into the dungeon and put them in a cauldron. And then you can defeat the evil witch. Sounds easy? Well, controlling the pumpkin isn't, as you have to guide it through the castle while it's constantly bouncing. Now, I was going to do a long play of this game, but I just didn't have the patience.
So again, we're starting on the Commodore 64, and straight away I lose a life. But at least I've got the chalice there. Now that chalice protects you against the... there's basically floating severed hands, and if you touch them, the controls are reversed. So that chalice prevents the controls being reversed. And as you can see, the pumpkin is constantly bouncing, there's no way of stopping it. And you've got a little bounce, a medium bounce, and a big bounce. Just hit that lever there to lower that platform. And that big spider there is instant death, so keep away from that. Now, one of the things I hate about this game is the fact that the enemies, after you kill them, respawn about 3 seconds later, which is really annoying. Now onto the Sinclair version. Much of the same, really difficult, constantly bouncing. Now each time you start a new game, you start in a different part of the castle. I think there's like 6 different locations that you can start in. Now navigating the pumpkin left to right and down is quite easy. But then you try and climb to the top of the castle. That's where the problem lies. So that there's one of the hands. If I touch that, the controls will be reversed, and the controls are being reversed. So I'm pushing left and going right, and vice versa. And just get down there and get that magic to replenish my health. See, also when you jump using the fire button, you also fire your magic, and the more magic you use, the more your health goes down. And that's one of the items there, the scissors, to cut the witch's hair. You need that in order to defeat her. That and the spell book. And onto the Amstrad version. Now I think this is the best version of the game, because I've got further than on the other 2 versions. Also looks better as well, there's more detail on the pumpkin. Whereas the other 2 versions, the pumpkin's just yellow, whereas on there you've got a bit of shading. So straight away in the throne room I've managed to pick up the crown. Just make sure I don't touch that spider, because like I said, it's instant death. Go down here. And there's our second item, the axe, which unlocks locked doors throughout the castle. We've got a flying pig's head. And we fall into the dungeon. There's a cauldron that we need to put the ingredients in, but we can't get past the skeleton unless you have the shield.
Now, fast forward 6 years to late 1992, and we saw the release of Super Cauldron. First released on DOS, and then later the Amstrad CPC, Amiga and Atari ST, Super Cauldron was a completely different game to the first 2. A nice bright colourful platformer, and the protagonist this time was a cutesy witch named Zamira. And bats are still your enemies, along with trolls, snakes and of course pumpkins. Now there's also an inventory system this time, where you can access your spells and weapons, and thank goodness you can upgrade your weapons, because you start off with a rock that when you throw it, it arcs, and 9 times out of 10 it goes over your enemies' heads. A bit like the flaming torch in Ghosts and Goblins. So here is Super Cauldron from Titus. So here's the Amstrad version first. Now believe it or not, this was actually released on the 464 on cassette. Now before doing this video, I just assumed this was only released on the 6128, the 6128 Plus on disc, but no, it got a release on cassette as well. It's a very impressive game. Lots of bright colours and lots of things going on. So as you can see, I've only got that rock weapon which sort of arcs. And you can power up your throw by holding the fire button. So the longer you hold the fire button down, the further the rock goes. And yet again we've got bouncing pumpkins. So if we go into the next screen, at the end of this this section there's a fire weapon, which is so much better than using a rock. Get past those mice, jump over these plants, and there we are, got the weapon there. Just bring up my inventory screen to select the other weapon. There we go, so much better. And those trolls don't take as many hits to kill with this weapon. So again, you can fly on your broomstick like in Cauldron 1, but this time gravity is not on your side, so if you let go of the joystick you start plummeting down, so you've got to keep your broomstick afloat, a bit like Airwolf on the home micros. Here's the Amiga version. As you can see, nice 16-bit graphics here. And we've got music! So even though the Atari ST and the DOS version have music, this is the better of the three. As you can see there, I'm aimlessly throwing rocks at birds and bats and trolls. And the bouncing pumpkins, not sure why they didn't colour them in orange. And here we are on the screen where the flame weapon is. It'll be interesting to see what other weapons are available in this game. I only got this one.
And one thing I forgot to mention, when you go down a hill, if you press down, you slide down the hill on your arse, so you can like slide under enemies. And that bar at the bottom there, that green bar, that is your current weapon's energy. And in order to top it up, you need to collect the frogs from the enemies that you kill.
So there we go, that was the Cauldron Trilogy. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm off to sit in front of my TV. Apparently there's some sort of giveaway at 9 o'clock. So see you on the next one. Take care, bye!